They called me a disgrace at the family table, but I was already building my empire in silence. Part 1. They didn't just say it once. "You're a disgrace!" The words hung heavy in the cramped dining room, echoed by the laughter of my mother, cousins, even my own sister. I sat frozen, clutching my fork as if it could shield me from their scorn. Dad's voice was cold, cutting through the room like a blade. "Marcus, you're a failure! Look at your brother, he's already a lawyer, and you, still flipping burgers?" The shame settled deep, a dark stain that clung to my skin long after dinner ended. Growing up in the rundown neighborhood where dreams were luxuries we couldn't afford, I knew what failure tasted like. It was the bitterness in the stale bread Mum handed us, the chill in the air when the heater broke again, the endless nights of fighting to believe in a future beyond the crumbling walls of our small apartment. School was no sanctuary. Teachers barely looked at me. Classmates whispered behind my back. "Burger boy!" they called me. I worked that summer job at a fast food joint to help Mum pay bills, but the jeers followed me everywhere. When I told my family I wanted to start a business, their laughter nearly shook the walls. "You, a businessman, you can't even keep a job," Dad sneered. One evening, after a particularly harsh argument, I left the apartment and walked the empty streets. The cold bit into my face, but it felt good, better than the fire of humiliation burning inside. "I'll show them," I whispered to the night. I spent months after work sketching ideas on scraps of paper, reading books borrowed from the public library, learning everything I could about entrepreneurship and marketing. The turning point came when I stumbled upon an online contest, a pitch competition for young entrepreneurs offering seed money to the winner. I submitted my business plan for a food delivery service aimed at underserved neighborhoods, promising fresh meals at affordable prices. Weeks passed with no word, and doubt crept in. But then, an email arrived. "Congratulations! You've been selected as a finalist." The night before the pitch, I barely slept, rehearsing in front of the cracked mirror in my room. The day of the competition, standing in a crowded hall full of sharp suits and confident voices, my heart thundered in my chest. When it was my turn, I spoke with everything I had, painting a vision of food accessibility and community uplift. When the judges announced me as the winner, the applause was thunderous. But it wasn't just the money that changed everything. It was the look on my family's faces when I told them. Shock, disbelief, envy. The boy they called a disgrace was no longer invisible. That was only the beginning. Part 2. Winning that contest was my first taste of what success could feel like. Sharp and intoxicating, but fleeting if you didn't chase it relentlessly. The seed money was modest, barely enough to launch, but enough to prove the concept. I rented a tiny office space in a dilapidated building downtown, barely enough room for a desk, a phone, and a couple of chairs. My first employees were friends I'd met during odd jobs, young, hungry, overlooked like me. We worked out of sheer grit and hope, packing meals into boxes late into the night, delivering them on beat-up bikes through rain and heat. Days blurred together in a haze of exhaustion and relentless pressure. Rent was late, suppliers threatened to cut us off. My phone buzzed with rejection from investors who didn't see the value in a kid from nowhere trying to feed the poor. One evening, I caught my reflection in a dirty storefront window. A man shadowed by fatigue, doubt swirling in his eyes. I remembered Dad's harsh words echoing in my mind. "You're a failure." That night, curled on the worn couch of the office, hunger gnawed at me, but I pushed the voice away. "I'm not a failure," I whispered to the dark. Not yet. But it wasn't just the outside world against me. The hardest battle was with my own family. My sister called one afternoon, voice dripping with bitterness. "Why waste your time on that stupid delivery nonsense? You'll never be more than a joke." Her words cut deeper than any stranger's insult. I fought back tears, but also forged a new fire inside. I sent a simple reply. "Watch me." Months turned into a year. Our user base grew slowly but steadily. We began partnering with community centers, expanding into new neighborhoods. Then, a break. A local news outlet ran a feature on us. Suddenly, orders exploded overnight. Investors came knocking, eager to be part of the rising star. I was no longer just a kid from the block. I was the CEO of a company changing lives. Part 3. The first time I walked into a skyscraper office with my own company's logo on the door, I felt the weight of every sneer and every laugh from my past lift off my shoulders. A polished receptionist greeted me by name. Doors opened. People smiled. Invitations replaced rejections. Then came the toughest moment, facing my family again. I invited them to the office, a silent challenge. Dad arrived last, arms crossed, eyes sharp. He glanced around, skeptical. "You made all this?" His voice low, disbelief laced with something like respect. I nodded. "Yes, Dad, I did." Mom's eyes glistened. My sister shifted uncomfortably. "You always said I was a disgrace," I said quietly. "That I'd never amount to anything." Dad's jaw tightened. "I'm here to say I'm not that boy anymore." The room was heavy with silence. For the first time, I saw something new in their eyes. Maybe pride, maybe regret. I took a deep breath and smiled. "I don't need your approval, but I'm proud of who I've become." Walking away from that dinner table was painful. Standing here leading this company is proof. I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving. And those who doubted me? They'll always remember my name.